All right, the very first thing that you should do to get over range anxiety on your electric motorcycle is to run the battery down to zero until there's absolutely nothing left. And it sounds like a very controversial thing to say, and that's actually, isn't that like the thing that you're trying to avoid? And it is what you're trying to avoid, but think about everything that you're going to learn by driving the bike down all the way to zero. Now, I know that most people are really hesitant about doing that because taking the battery all the way to zero is really bad for it. It's really bad for the battery if you leave it at zero and don't do anything about it. What are the things you're going to learn about it when you do that? You're going to figure out that the bike can actually go a little bit more, even whenever it hits 0% on your screen. You're going to find out how many more miles it can actually go if you hit zero. You're going to learn what the bike does, like characteristically, what does it do whenever it starts to shut down? Like what does a bike shut down look and feel like? That way when you experience it in the real world, you already know what's going to happen. You already know how the bike's going to behave, and you're going to be in the right mindset to try to think ahead of and try to get ahead of not riding the bike until it hits absolutely zero. If you're watching this video, you're either about to get into electric motorcycles, maybe you're shopping around, you're trying to find an electric motorcycle, or you just got one and you just can't shake this range anxiety every time you go out and ride. Range anxiety is a very real thing. Almost all people that get electric motorcycles experience range anxiety. Sometimes I even experience range anxiety, but I've experienced it so much that I know what the bike's going to do, and I know how to handle the situation if it happens. And that's the whole point behind riding the bike until you just can't go anymore, is that, well, for one, you do it in a controlled way, you do it in a controlled environment, you're doing it on your own time, or your own, you're doing it, you're controlling the situation as opposed to the situation controlling you. And I think ultimately that's what most people are really scared about, is that feeling a lack of control, but really it's just a fear. And if you just kind of watch this video, I guarantee you, if you apply what I'm telling you to do, the next time you go out and ride, or the next time you go out and do this, you're going to feel much more confident on the bike, and you're going to enjoy your ride that much more. Controlled way, what do I mean by that? So what I think you should do is take your motorcycle and take whatever the stated range is for it. Okay, whatever the manufacturer claims the range is. You're going to do a ride where you go out and you come back. Okay, you ride out to 45%, don't go to 50. You want to give yourself a little bit of a buffer. Charge the bike all the way up to 100%, ride 45% in one direction, and then turn around and go back the other way. Hopefully it'll only take you 45 to go that way as well. What you're doing is you want to see and you make sure that the manufacturer is accurate in their claimed range. Now there are some things that affect the efficiency of range, and I'll go over that in a few points. Go out 45, come back at 45. You should have around 10% remaining. And what you're going to want to do with that remaining 10% now, you can do this at home, you can do this at a charging spot, public charging spot, is right around in that area, within a mile of that, of a known place where you can absolutely charge, and just ride the bike until it goes flat. Once you hit 0%, reset your trip odometer, and you're going to record how many miles you can go after the bike has already said it's at 0%. Now, you're going to want to make sure you annotate how fast you're going. Speed matters, right? Because what we're doing is we're trying to assess how far your bike can travel once it hits 0%. What's my quote-unquote reserve? Even the bikes don't really have reserves. But what you're doing is you're seeing how much more voltage the bike has, and it's being reported, because most battery management systems, they kind of they take the average of the voltage of the cells around it, and that gives you the state of charge, or the percentage of the battery that's remaining. So it's not always an exact number, it's just an algorithm that's predicting what the state of health or state of charge is. And I really mean ride the bike until it just won't go anymore. You twist the throttle and it just doesn't do anything. Now we know what our backup is, what our reserve is, what our emergency mileage is. And that's what we're trying to figure out. What is my emergency mileage after the bike hits 0? And obviously you're going to want to charge the bike as soon as you do that. Now, electric motorcycles are different in a lot of ways from electric vehicles, electric cars and trucks. Mainly in that if the bike runs out of battery, you just push it. Now, is it going to be easy? Are you going to want to do it for miles and miles? Well, no. But if you had to push the bike a couple hundred feet, you can definitely do it. And I've certainly done that many times. All right, so the next thing that you're going to want to do is you don't want to ride without having done some recon. You want to know the area that you're going to ride in. So you're going to pull up PlugShare, or I think overseas it's like ZapMap or something like that. Look at the area that you're going to be riding in, or the route that you're going to be riding, and get yourself familiar with the rapid or fast chargers that are in that location. Those are good to have in the back of your head in case you need to take or you need to go to like an alternate one because the primary one was, it's broken down or it's full of other vehicles that are charging there. But just bottom line is just know the area that you're going to ride and know where the rapid, fast charging sources are. Okay, the next thing you need to keep in mind is that for most of us, I mean, if you're buying an electric motorcycle, you live in a somewhat modern society. We are literally surrounded by electricity all the time. There are far more 110 outlets or household plugs than there are gas stations or petrol stations. Electric motorcycle owners are never stranded, we're just delayed. Because you can take your bike, and as long as you have your EVSE with you, your charger cable, you're never really stranded unless you're just out in the middle of nowhere. Out of the 70,000 plus miles that I've ridden electric motorcycles, I've only been technically stranded one time. And that was because my GPS took me in the wrong area. It took me down told me to go left when I should have gone right, so to say. So all those times that I've really cut it close to running out of battery, I was already surrounded by electricity. And this is where you have to break your mind. For the last 120 years, our brains, we've been conditioned with combustion vehicles. You ride until it's empty, you fill it all the way up. You ride until it's empty, you fill all the way up. And with electric vehicles and electric motorcycles, I mean, you can do it that way, but that is the least efficient way to do it. I don't know where I am. You just want to charge up enough to get you to the place to the next place that you're trying to go, whether that's your destination or that's your charger itself. So if you're out in the wild and you run out, you don't have to charge. You don't have to slow charge all the way up to full. You just slow charge enough to get you to a fast or a rapid charger. So just keep that in mind. The next thing that I would do is just ride the damn bike. Ride it around. The more you ride it, the more you're going to get familiar with how speed affects range, how the terrain affects range, how temperatures affect range, how your throttle input affects range. But look, you're not gonna figure this out if you're just scared inside your house every day, worried about whether or not the bike's going to run out of juice or not. Pop the cherry, so to say. I guarantee you, if you just ride the bike until it dies, put it on a slow charger for a little while, you're going to feel so much more confident in your ability to ride the bike. You're going to feel more confident in what the bike's capable of, and then you can just enjoy riding. Like you've already gone through the pain, so to say, of running out of battery. And it's no longer this unknown thing that you've never had to experience, that you've only seen in videos. And you're just like, oh my God, it's going to happen to me. Just get it out of the way. It's like a Band-Aid. Just rip it off. Do it intentionally. Do it in a controlled way. And look, and there are a lot of different riding techniques that you can do. And I've got those videos all over my channel. How to do throttle properly. Like, how does elevation affect the battery capacity? How does speed affect capacity? How does elevation... How does the cold temperatures affect? I've got videos, so many videos on this channel that show exactly that, and I encourage you to watch them. I'll put them in the video description below of me demonstrating different techniques to make the range go longer. But ultimately, you got to ride the damn bike. Like, there's no other way that you're going to figure this out. There's no other way that you're going to learn to enjoy it or learn to get past this range anxiety thing. You just got to ride the damn bike. You bought it. Enjoy it. It's a lot easier to enjoy it when you understand and know the capabilities, the full capabilities of what the bike can do, rather than just not riding the bike because you're too scared of running out of juice, or you're too scared to go a little bit further than what you're used to because there's no chargers out there. So what? Bring your EVSE with you and just find somewhere to plug in. There's lots of public places that are paid by taxes. I would say 9.9 times out of 10, people don't care if I plug in. Just be like, hey, my bike just died. Is it okay if I plug in outside for an hour or two? People are like, yeah, sure, you know, no worries. It's not that big of a deal. Alright, I'll see you in the next video.